Poll question from hour one. Are we going to continue it in hour two, Seton?
Well, Dan, I put up one that we haven't really even gotten into the topic yet.
Okay.
But the question is, which is the worst driver? Slow in the passing lane or the tailgater?
Seton had a moment today, an incident today. How would you describe what happened and when you were en route to work today?
It was actually fairly a common experience for me, except for one wrinkle of it.
All right.
It turns out I get the middle finger a lot when I'm driving because I think I'm an aggressive driver. I could admit that. Although in this moment, nothing really stood out to me as being overly aggressive. There was a car in the passing lane, all the way over to the left, an SUV, and they were going probably slower than they should have. So I wasn't riding right up on them at all because I've definitely been worse about it. But I was close enough to let them know, like, all right, it's time to move over so the rest of us can get through. And after a little bit, the person didn't move over. So once I got the chance, I just went around them and then passed them and kept on going. And about a minute or two later, that car sped up next to me, like crazy fast, clearly trying to get my attention. And the guy gave me the middle finger, which is nothing new for me. So I just gave him the middle finger back. But what was different was then in the passenger seat, what looked like a 12-year-old boy with his little shaggy hair leaned forward, and he also gave me the finger.
Yeah.
So I looked at the kid, I pointed at him, I gave the kid the middle finger, and then I looked at the dad and pointed back to the kid and sort of did like a mock clapping motion and gave him a thumbs up, and then continued on with my day.
That's great parenting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, then I got to work. And that's about it. Probably the same thing probably happened on the way home.
Do you think you could be the problem?
It's possible. There's definitely been times that I'm like, oh, I deserve the middle finger. There's no doubt about it. I was being a real jerk. Not in that moment, though. It really didn't stand out to me as like I probably could have been nicer to that guy. Like I waited, none. All right, he's not going to move over. So then I just went around him. Once the traffic opened up and allowed me to do that, then I went around him.
Didn't you have the incident where the guy was upset with you and he didn't flip you off? He just had his hand on the steering wheel and just sort of lifted up his bird finger.
He was driving and he clearly had his family in the car because I'm guessing there was a woman sitting next to him and it was an SUV and there was like soccer stickers and stuff, so you could tell it was like a family roadster.
Yeah.
And I went around the guy and got in front of him, and when I looked in my rearview mirror, he didn't take his hands off of the steering wheel. He just extended one finger.
The hidden bird trick.
Yeah, he gave me the hidden bird.
I like that.
I'm surprised Seton. I would not have guessed Seton to be a middle finger return serve type person, but I love that he gave the middle finger back to the kid. That's even better.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, the kid. All right, big guy, you're gonna throw him around.
I like how Dad did it, and then this little whippersnapper just leans forward.
I didn't even know that he was there, but then just from like behind the dad, you just saw this little shaggy-haired kid.
Next up for father and son will be going to a White Sox game and then coming out of the stands and beating up on a first base coach. Remember that father and son who did that?
Sure.
Oh, good times. Yes, Marv.
Do you think the father encouraged the son to give the middle finger to Seton?
I'm going to guess they've probably been in a moment like this before. He probably didn't discourage his son from
At
doing
12?
it. Yeah.
I'm guessing he could have been 10, he could have been 13. I don't really know, but he was around that age.
Yeah.
He was right around the
Right
age.
around your son's age.
My son's age, yeah.
Yeah. Would your son do that?
No.
Okay.
No, and he's seen me give people the middle finger a million times, and he's like, Dad, you can't do that. Dad, you can't do that.
See, I don't do it just because if it does happen, A, it's Dan Patrick flipped me off, or somebody who doesn't know me is going to stop the car and then get in my face. Because that happened one time when I'm driving home from the airport in New York, and New Yorkers have this way of, let me go all the way up and then just kind of butt in front of everybody in traffic. And there was this pickup truck that was on my right, and he wanted to get in, and we were stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and he wanted to move in front of the line, and I wouldn't let him. And he got in front of me and stopped his truck. And so it's bumper-to-bumper. He stops, and he gets out, and he's coming back to the car. And I'm with my daughters. They go, Daddy's coming back. Daddy's coming back. I said, keep the windows up. and all of a sudden there was a little break in the traffic, and then I went around the guy. So he's walking with all of these cars on an expressway in New York. And I could just see him as I'm navigating through traffic that he was trying to navigate through traffic with his truck. But I was able to elude him. A low-speed chase. I was able to elude him because it wasn't going to be pretty. If he came back to the door, I'm guessing somehow he would have gotten the door open. Yeah, Paul.
But I'm guaranteed what would happen in this situation. Let's say you pulled over and it was going to be like a scuffle or something. The guy would have got out, slammed the door, walked up and goes, "Hey, Dan Patrick from Sports Center." And the whole thing would have been diffused immediately because you're famous. I guarantee it.
He would say, "Oh, Dan Patrick, Sports Center, I'm going to kick your ass." Da-da-da, da-da-da. Yes,
That's my wife is always like, "Babe, don't end up on YouTube, please.
Yeah.
Please don't end up on YouTube."